What is going on, guys? My name is Feeds. Welcome back to Feeds Mindset, episode 37 with the wonderful lady Sin. Sin, welcome in. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I appreciate you taking your time to be here. You just got back from a little break and stuff, so I appreciate you being able to take the time for me because you have so many things that you want to get to. Before we start the video, something I always say at the very beginning, I'm very huge on mental health and on networking. Me and Sin, I would say we're pretty decent friends. We've known each other for a couple months, played a couple games of Valorant. We definitely don't know each other too well. A lot of the people that I have on Feeds Mindset, usually, again, I don't like using this term, but strangers kind of, I don't really know a lot about them. The reason why I bring this up now is a lot of people have issues networking and connecting with other people. So I just say it at the beginning, if I can do it, so can you. So I just always kind of do that small little thing. But Sin, of course, thank you so much for being here and to be able to just kind of talk about everything today. So to kind of start it off for everybody watching, kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are as of current day, what do you play, and where do you stream on?
Yeah. So hi everybody. My name's Sin. I'm currently streaming on Kick exclusively too. I started in about March 23rd, I believe is the date. So it's been close to a year now. But it's been absolutely insane. I play a lot of FPS games, a lot of Valorant, way too much Valorant. Some horror games, all that. I play a lot of community games too, which is always a blast. Sometimes I host some Valorant tournaments, some confessional streams, which are super fun to get into. But yeah, that's about me. I'm 22 years old. I live in New York. That's about it.
Nice, gotcha. Okay, yeah. So you are a variety streamer, but you would probably say your main game, non-variety stuff, would be Valorant, I would say.
Yeah,
How long have you been playing Valorant?
It's actually only been about 2 years. This was my first ever FPS, by the way.
Yeah, same
So
here.
yeah, it was definitely a learning experience. I know a lot of people grew up on things like COD or other games like Halo and stuff, but I actually only grew up playing on my brother's consoles, so I played things like GameCubes or whatever PlayStation games I could get my hands on, like, Smash Brothers or like monster games and stuff like that.
Oop.
Or Animal Crossing. It was like I never really had access to PC games. And then I played on like some really old, like way too hot laptop that used to keep a fan under and stuff to play Minecraft and stuff like that with my cousins. But when I got my PC about 3 years ago now, it was just right off the bat, my brother downloaded Valorant on my computer and he was like, "You're gonna learn this, I'm gonna coach you, we're gonna become nasty." But yeah, that was pretty much it.
Yeah. So who are the characters that you main on Valorant?
You guys are not gonna be happy about this one, but I am kind of a Reyna insta-law. I didn't start with her though. This is only the last couple months. But I definitely started with Sage when I was first learning, and then kind of became a KJ main for a really long time. She's super fun. She was more of my play style for a long time, just kind of playing more off like game sense, more strategically, kind of playing safe. And then when I was hard stuck in plat for like 3 acts straight, I was like, "Yep, we're gonna learn to do this. We're gonna stick with her. We're gonna insta-lock with no shame and just ride it out, see what happens." And now I'm like Reyna all the way.
yeah, I definitely understand. I had so Valorant was my first FPS too, as far as like PC gaming and stuff. And same thing with my fiance. I'd kind of got her into Valorant about a year ago, and she loved Killjoy. I think now she plays Reyna. We both don't really play it that much. We're both mainly COD now. But she loved Killjoy so much, and we play it all the time. Cool. And for me, I was originally a Jet main before she got patched and nerfed and her double dash and all that stuff. But obviously, I mean, you already know, but I'm a Sova main now. I love Sova. Being able to know his lineups and shock darts and stuff is just very intriguing. I don't play Valorant nearly as much as I did, but I will always give full credit to Valorant. Because when I say this all the time, but when I got into Valorant, it was actually during COVID. I was making a little bit more money off of unemployment at the time because I got laid off. And I've spent, I think, like 2 paychecks worth and some extra money I had saved up, and went out on a PC. And Valorant was my first one I got into. And I played it because, well, obviously I wanted a PC, but COD was just very boring and stale. I didn't like Cold War. A lot of people was loving Cold War. I just couldn't get into it, and then fucking Shitguard came out, and that was a horrible game.
Yeah.
And so I didn't like either of the CODs, and so that's where Valorant came into play. I played that for about a year and a half, I would say, and then that's when MW2 came out, and just something about it when I made that transition, because I was a little bit worried going into COD, because I'd never played COD on keyboard and mouse. I'd always been on console, then Valorant was kind of the only game I'd played on keyboard and mouse, and just like the first 5 minutes I played COD, it just felt all natural. Like I was just hitting quick scopes and stuff, and I give my full discretion to Valorant and to Aim Labs, because it really did help improve my. I mean, even today, I get a lot of people that accuse me of cheating and stuff during my rank sniping. Even today's stream, I have it all the time. People report me and stuff, dropping kills. Oh, you can't do that. Oh, it's easy. Blah blah blah. And it's like I get it to an extent, but I've just had a lot of experience, and I think that's the main thing. A lot of people are very focused on, if you're doing something that's better than them, they try to make excuses for it rather than use it as motivation. Be like, damn, like I got outgunned, I should get better. And so, but Valorant taught me a lot, and I'll always give full gratitude and credit to Valorant being able to kind of mold me into the, I guess, skill that I have today, I guess I would say. But Valorant was definitely a very solid game for me.
Yeah, same here. I'm the same way. I got my PC during unemployment, during the COVID kind of era, and yeah, I had a good paying job at the time. I was working a little too much, but then when COVID came away, I still had a little bit of money saved up. I was the same way, first FPS, all that. And now I think I'm pretty good at most shooter games too. I was the same way. I was so dedicated to just aim training, and in Valorant specifically, you'll notice a lot of the time people wanting to blame each other when games go wrong, and if you're losing the game, you always want to blame that bottom frag or whatever's going on. But I think you'll see the best players sometimes are the ones that look at, what am I doing wrong? What can I do better in this game? And just practicing all those mechanics and everything goes such a long way. That it wasn't until I started looking at my own mistakes and doing those death matches that I didn't want to play and all that, that I was Heartstuck Bronze 3 for 4 months. I was like, why can't I play with my friends? Why can't I climb? Started doing that, started watching coaching videos on YouTube. Then I went all the way up to Diamond, and it was why didn't I do this sooner?
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm in the same kind of aspect, because with Valorant, I just kind of did my own thing. I got to I think Plat 3. I didn't really take rank too serious, but when I got into COD and started sniping and stuff, that was right when Ranked came out, and I got into my rank sniping area. I love doing it because A, nobody does it, so there's not really a lot of competition, and B, it is kind of hard to do when you're facing kids that are trying to be the next Scump and stuff and be professional players, and they get sniped. It's just funny for reactions. It's good for content, and it's good for skill level. So when I had got on MW2 and started sniping and stuff, I was hitting some shots, but my rotations and stuff and my player sense was really low, and I couldn't really grasp it. I knew how to be a kill hog, but I didn't know how to be a team player. And I've said this before, but shout out to Steven. I think he's probably privated and stuff. He's not really out there anymore. He's a random dude that came into my Twitch chat back when I was on Twitch for a couple of years ago, and messaged me, and he was like, hey, what's up? Started talking to me, and then he started saying that he used to be a coach for some LAN events and for some COD Pro Series back in Black Ops 2 days and stuff, and he actually sat down with me and helped coach me, and that, which we was talking before stream, but that Team Bop squad I was telling you about, he actually offered to coach us for free, and we sat every Thursday, every week, we would go in Discord, and we would talk about rotations and spawns and what we could be doing better. And as the Bop squad, we made it to a finals one time, but we lost. And I can't remember who he was playing, but it was great. I think it was Stupid and somebody else.
Though.
But we played great players, and me and there's another guy named Reese. I'm not trying to down the other guys we was playing with, but me and Reese was really doing well. And a big thing that I always say about me and Reese is Reese didn't communicate. I don't know what's going on with him, but he just didn't want to talk. He's just been a silent dude the whole time. But we was always able to communicate. He would literally message me in between deaths on Twitch saying over there, right there, or anything. And it's just crazy because it helped mold me into the person I was. I didn't know the Steven dude at all. I wanted to be a better player. I knew that I couldn't go pro because I'm on keyboard and mouse. And fun fact for those of you that don't know, anything professional level COD wise has to be on controller. So I could never get to that aspect because I tried to play controller a little bit and I was awful. And I always liked the fact of being on keyboard and mouse. And so Steven definitely being able to take time out of his day to understand the community and to coach me and help me be a better player definitely ties in with even the clips that I hit today. I mean, I hit a freaking trick shot on ranked right before we did this podcast.
Nice.
And just little things like that. You know, it's the people that you meet that sometimes when you're not at your best, whether it's streams or whether it's gaming or your skill level, the problem's not necessarily you. I mean, it could just be a bad day, and it's just having those people around you that can honestly mold you to be a better person.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's really good to have friends sometimes that, you know, play the similar games as you that could just like they care to like give little tips here and there, or if they notice, yeah, maybe you're having an off day and you're just making a stupid mistake in between rounds and they're like, hey, just do this instead, or try this or whatever. That it helps so much. I can't tell you how much my friends that I've met through Valorant, shout out Vinny and Ben and everybody, they've helped me so much. They were the only reason I got to Diamond. I was hard stuck flat for God knows how long. And yeah, and they were just like, you know, like we're gonna watch your stream a little bit, we're gonna give you some tips and we'll play some games, tell you what you're doing wrong, and we'll fix it real quick. And then yeah, that things like that helps such they go such a long way, more than people know, because sometimes it can kind of knock down your confidence a little bit too when you're not playing so good, especially in front of people if you're streaming and all that. And to have people like that just like being like, it's okay, just fix this little thing or try doing this instead or whatever, and then it works, you're like, oh my god, thank God for you. Like
yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I mean, just like going back onto MW2 when Ranked had first came out, you know, I was plat for a long time, and I think that was right around the time I had met Steven, even though it wasn't for the same thing. Obviously, we were still playing the same maps and modes, so it still correlated. And, you know, I ended up getting to Diamond 1 sniping only in last season, last Ranked for MW2. Per se, and now Ranked has been out for 2 days for MW3, and I'm already Gold 2. You know, so I'm really trying to get back up to Diamond to kind of prove to myself that, like, you know, I still got it in a sense, you know, because it's been a while. But it's just like I said, regardless of the credibility or anything, like if it wasn't for those people, I wouldn't have been able to maintain and be where I'm at, and I could just be a selfish little sniper that thinks he's better than everybody and not play as a team and just say fuck off to everybody, you know. But I think being able to understand, especially when you're gaming, and really all of this that we're talking about ties into streaming too, because just like how you need to be a team player in gaming, you need to do it in streaming as well. You need to support other creators and be there for people. And just like you said, for Benny or for Ben and Vinny, I put them together. Benny. But you know, for those people and all the other hundreds of thousands of wonderful creators out there, you know, without each other, you can't become anything. You have to have people. So we've talked a ton about going into this and stuff. So let's kind of start getting into the background of Sin and kind of where you came from. So kind of take me back. Obviously not like your childhood per se, but how did you get into gaming, and what was it something that kind of get you in, you know, from today's standpoint?
So yeah, I think like obviously I had played games here and there online as a kid and all that, but really it kind of started when I got my PC built. And my brother, I do want to say thank you to him because he built my entire PC by hand, and he helped me pick out all the parts and let me know what to get, and he got most of my equipment for streaming also. But once he got my PC built for me and showed me a couple games to maybe start out with and all that, and like coach me a little bit on some of them, that was when I really started getting into gaming and really started taking it seriously. And that, yeah, especially things like Valorant, where I noticed like I was wanting to play this game for like hours a day. Like I was really getting into it, and I always enjoyed gaming, but I never really had access to it until I had like my actual setup. It was like it was mine. I didn't have to borrow anybody else's stuff, or I wasn't a kid that like had to, you know, go to bed to wake up for school in the morning. Like I could do it anytime I wanted, and it was all mine. And that was kind of a big change. And especially once I started noticing that a lot of my friends were interested in, making content or doing streaming, kind of popped into my mind too when I was thinking, I enjoy gaming so much. This is one of the only hobbies that's kind of stuck for a long time. Why don't I try to make something of it? And if it
Mm-hmm.
works out, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And then my friends just pushed the hell out of me to start streaming. All of my good gaming friends just like they kept telling me, "You're like, you gotta do it, you gotta do it." There's this new thing called Kit coming around, and it's brand new. You'd be brand new with it. Like, just try it, just go for it, see what happens. Showed me how to do all my OBS and all that, and then I was like, okay, if I'm gonna stream video games, I gotta be good at them. Like, I'm gonna have to. I don't want to embarrass myself. I'm really gonna have to try. And I really, yeah, Valorant was like the one thing that I was like, I'm gonna make a goal out of this. Like, I really want to climb ranked. I really want to show that not all girls suck at games and all of this. Like, I could hang with my brother and the guys and all that, and I could actually be good at something regardless of whether I've been playing this my whole life or just for a year. And that was kind of where that spark started. I was a little competitive about
Was
it,
that was that
but
was that important to you, knowing that you was? I mean, because and we'll talk a little bit about the women's space as I always do about them. But
mhm.
was that important to you, knowing that you could keep up with other people?
Not so much everyone or maybe like my peers, but to be able to just be able to play like sometimes with my brother or even my boyfriend or some of my good friends that I wanted to play games with all the time and I could play other games with, but if they wanted to get on this game, I was like, oh shoot, I can't even queue with them. Like I wanna be able to be that good or
Yeah.
to be in the higher ranks, or I wanna learn. And then, like, once I started to get up there and I was actually able to play with them a little bit, I was like, "Damn, this feels good." Like, I don't have to worry about asking them to, like, hop on all the alts or, being, like, that friend that they're kinda just, like, backpacking the whole time or
Yeah.
anything. I wanted to, like, really hold my own, and, that was a little important to me. I was definitely really eager to learn fast and to try to keep up, and I think that's probably the main reason why I'm semi decent at Valorant
Yeah.
now. But yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to have that motivation and to kind of have a place where you can stem from of being, okay, like a lot of people talk down to me, this and that, but what if I can prove them different and put in some time
Mhm.
and understand the game? And I think there's a lot of people. I mean, even just streaming, your streams aren't doing well. You're not getting a lot of viewers. Your content's not doing well. Like, go back and watch yourself. Just same thing like you do
Mhm.
your own gameplay. You want to be a better player. Same thing for streaming. You want to be a better streamer. Are you connecting? Are you pushing out? Do you watch
Yeah.
yourself for 5 or 5, 10 minutes? Do you enjoy yourself? Are you bored? And I think those are the important aspects, because if you never reflect on the type of player or person that you're trying to strive to be, you're never going to understand what mistakes you need to fix.
Mhm. For sure, for sure. I think doing it for yourself too is a big part of it. I think when you're trying too hard to please other people, and you don't have like that self-driven goal behind it or motivation behind it, it can be a little bit more difficult to achieve those things, and there's a lot more pressure on it. But I think once I started looking at it as like, well, I want to set like this goal, or I want to reach this by this time or whatever, or I want to try to learn a little bit more just to be better, just to have more fun with it, and to be able to enjoy a game more and be able to play with friends and all that was like a much better way to look at it rather than like when I first started and I was like, "Oh my God, why can't I be better at this? I've been in the same place this whole time," or I can't play with my friends, so I'm not gonna play at all or whatever because I don't want to play alone. Like all that was the reason why I stayed stuck there for so
Yeah.
long, and why I wasn't enjoying it so much. But once you just kind of push yourself to learn a little bit more and to have more self-driven motivation behind things, I think you feel more positive about those. And then when you see progress, it feels so much better than, doing it for someone else.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think there's a lot of people that get in the very negative mindset, and I think that and I say this all the time. I'll say it to my fiance a lot of times, and she always complains at me and tells me to shut up. But like, she'll complain about a lot of things that she just can't change, whether it's in the game or just life, or maybe we got bills coming up or something. And I'll tell her all the time that like complaining doesn't change anything. Like if you cannot change that outcome, whatever happens, if you know there's nothing else you could have done, complaining about it isn't going to fix anything. And the only best way to do it is if it's just something that happens, you just have to understand it and push through it. But if it's something that you can change, sitting there complaining is not going to change the fact that you still need to improve. And that's something that I'm a firm believer. I've been that way ever since a kid, ever since I've grown up. Anything that, even something simple like going to work, like most people complain about work or I don't want to go today, but I just do it because it's like I have to do it. I need money. Things got to get paid. You just do it, and that applies to everything, to content, to videos, to streaming. Going through some battles and stuff of maybe not wanting to stream and your stuff not doing well. It all applies. If you don't push yourself, nothing's going to get done. I think that's
100%.
that's a really important aspect, and I think one of the biggest issues that I think a lot of people have in this community is they rely on other people to lift them up, and it's not always a bad thing. But you have to realize, no matter how good of friends you are with anybody, if like your number one priority is you should always be there for yourself. If you can't be there for yourself, you can't expect other people to be there for you, because if you're not going to be there for them, you have to reciprocate that energy. Because if you want to be successful, you can't expect someone to make you successful while you sit there and just bask in the glory.
Yep, 100%. I fully agree with you. I think a lot of people look for shortcuts sometimes. It's the easier way, and you don't really have to go through the ups and downs if you just had that quick shout out or whatever by that bigger person or whatever, and you got all those followers. It's like you didn't have to do anything, right? But I think it feels so much better when you have something to like show for yourself, and when you really put that work in and you did it by yourself. And like there's nothing wrong with getting support from some people sometimes, but I think there's such a big difference between being like, hey, promote me, shout me out, follow for follow, or can you say I did this or whatever, or make me look good, rather than, hey, my friend recognized that I've been working really hard the last couple months and they wanted to say something nice about me, and or I have all this great content to show for that people are really enjoying. I didn't have to beg people to like me or to watch me. It's like people genuinely just wanted to support or whatever, and that feels so much better. You're going to be so much happier with yourself in the long run rather than all that superficial stuff on the surface. It's like,
and I think that's a big piece of advice that I would give other people to you, which is technically kind of your advice, just kind of rephrase, is that, maybe you need to take a page out of your own book, and it's like, when's the last time you've tweeted out to somebody saying, hey, like, I appreciate you, like, you've blown up, you've done awesome. Like, a lot of people like want that, but they don't give it. And I think that, I've done that quite a bit of time, during my streaming journey and stuff. I'll shout people out all the time, like once or twice a month, being like, yo, go check him out. Like, he's great. He's a good guy. Or, yo, like, you're insane. Pop off. Like, being able to have that, if you want it, you have to give it. It kind of applies. You have to be able to be willing to support other people to be supported. And that applies to everything. And at the end of the day, everybody has their own journey and different ways of going about it. But at the same time, everybody's intentions are the same. We all want to get there. We all want to be full-time. We all want to blow up and make a bunch of people happy and do well. And it's a journey to get there. And everybody's competing for it. So you can't act like you're the only one that's struggling with things. I think that's a big thing. A lot of people get caught up in, why is this happening to me? Oh, everybody else is popping off, but every time I play the game, nobody comes, or, I can't hit a clip. My shots are just bad. And I think a lot of self-reflection is a big importance of that.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I think I've seen a lot when I open up some social media apps where I follow a bit of the community on there. Like, I'll see a lot of complaining of like, nobody was wanting to watch me today, or I didn't get likes on this tweet today, or whatever. And I think sometimes you just kind of need to take a step back and think about, whether you're doing it for the right reasons, whether you're doing it because you actually enjoy it or you just want something out of it. And also, like, are you supporting other people? Because maybe that's not why you're not maybe receiving so much of it back, or are you being kind, or are you giving out some love to other people? Are you supporting other people's content, watching their stuff and interacting, or are you actually pushing out content that people want to see and that you enjoy too? I think a lot of the time people they don't really want to do that like inner work a lot of time, which can be hard, and I completely understand, and it can be frustrating when you don't see things happen quickly for yourself. But I think it's important to try to stay motivated and just keep reminding yourself why you started in the first place, and just keep pushing in that work. And I think I'm a firm believer in good karma, and what goes around comes around. I think if you just keep putting out positivity, you keep showing support to people, keep doing what you love, pushing out some good content, all that, then I think you'll see the success and you'll see the progress at some point. It might not be as fast as you want, but I definitely think it'll come. But it won't come from sitting on your ass and complaining all day.
Yep.
Definitely
Yeah.
won't.
That's for
Yeah.
sure. So we've touched a lot of topic on gaming and kind of creators and stuff, but kind of get me through the background of the streaming side. I know you said you've had a lot of people supporting you, shout out to your brother. He seems like to be somebody that was very impactful in your life.
Yeah, for sure.
How did streaming kind of play out for you, and how did you get into it?
Yeah. So I think it really kind of started about like a year and a half into having my PC and having some games. I met a really good group of people on Valorant that I started playing ranked with a lot, and they were big fans of watching other streamers and playing games competitively, and all that. And also I think my boyfriend was a big fan of a lot of the competitive COD scenes and stuff like that. And so I think I grew up with like having my brother already like super into gaming and all that, but then having all those extensions of the people around me, like my friends and relationships and all that, also being really into it, kind of opened my eye up to a lot of like just the world of gaming and all that it can really bring you, and how much deeper it was rather than just playing on your keyboard all day
Yeah.
long. And so once I met that really good group of people, they kind of pushed me to do it. They were always kind of putting the thought into my brain and talking about it every time I would hop in a Discord call with them, or stuff like that. And then one of my good friends, Vinny, again, he started streaming, and so he was telling me, like, yeah, like I said, like Kick is brand new and he was gonna try it, so why not, me try it? And they were like, I think you'd be really good at this. I think it would come easy to you. You're good at games. Like, you're not shit at Valorant. Like, just try it. And so yeah, he helped me set up all my OBS stuff. My brother and my boyfriend got me like a webcam and some lights and all that. And I started out in my living room. It wasn't anything like grand, but I definitely had a lot of support from the people around me, which was a big part of it. And I just I made an account. Started with a really grainy, dark background, and just kind of my Valorant game, like a headset mic and all that. And it was nothing of like high quality or anything,
Yeah.
but I think I was just having a lot of fun with it, and I was just trying to be myself. I just really wanted to create sort of a safe, positive community for a lot of people that might be anxious to start, just like I was, or just kind of maybe the people that are a bit more into gaming that don't really have like the community or didn't know about it so much. Like I didn't know much.
Yeah.
I think that was just a big motivation, was like I just wanted to try to create something that I didn't even know was possible for the longest time. And I wanted to make something out of a hobby that I really enjoyed, and tried to see where it would go. And it's been working out pretty well, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've known each other for quite a couple months. I've seen your wonderful community. I mean, you have a lot of great people in there. They're always there, especially when you first go live. You have a ton of love, when you start the stream, which I think is very important, because you literally have people waiting for you. And I think that's a very important aspect. And so shout out to you and your community. Wanted to touch on something that you said there about starting with basically nothing, your headset mic and your grainy background, and being in your kitchen. A lot of people wait to be a creator or be a streamer or something when they have the right equipment. Why was it important for you to start when you basically had nothing and you knew that your quality wasn't as good as the people that were successful around you?
Yeah. It was definitely something that I was a little worried about. I was definitely a little insecure about it. I think I saw a lot of people with all these really cool overlays and really great expensive cameras, like using their Canon cameras as
Mm-hmm.
their webcams and all that. And I was definitely a little intimidated. But then I just realized I was like, if I keep waiting, I keep waiting and waiting, I'm never gonna do it. I'm never gonna do it. And I was so anxious to hit that live button. I remember for like a week straight, it had to have been like about like 5 days or something, that I would like, I'd get all like pretty, whatever, do my hair, my makeup, I'd sit in my chair, have everything set up, and I just couldn't click that button on OBS. I couldn't click it. I was so anxious. I was like, nobody's even gonna be here, or if they do show up, what am I gonna say? How am I gonna talk to them? Like I'm too nervous. And it definitely took a while for me to get over that anxiety of just learning how to just talk to people, and getting used to strangers having that kind of access to
Yeah.
you. And also you're a little off guard too. It's not like, I can like cut and edit a video and then
Yeah.
put it out. This is live. They're getting me for me at this moment. And that definitely was a little nerve-wracking to me. But I think it just took just like pushing myself, just taking that step, throwing myself kind of into the deep end, and just doing it regardless of how nervous I felt, to just learn how to be better at it. Um and I was starting with what I was starting with. I think it definitely wasn't anything special. It was really, really dark, and I had my messy couch in the background and some dirty curtains, and I'd have like my family walking in the background sometimes, my cats jumping all over my setup, and a lot of background noise, a lot of like TV, my family telling me to be quiet. And it definitely wasn't anything amazing, but I think I just took it for what it was. I was enjoying it. I was gonna play games anyway. And I just wanted to do it, and just, yeah, just like I said, just throw myself in, or else I was never gonna do it. So
Yeah. No, I
yeah.
mean, I definitely understand. I think the difficulty that I have on this topic is, I can't really remember when I first went live. A lot of people usually they can. They're like, I can remember the first day. And so I can't really like I didn't have a lot of issues going live and showing my face cam and stuff. So it's kind of hard for me because I like the topic of advice for creators to get out of their comfort zone, especially for women, because they, you guys struggle with your own battles and stuff. No matter way you want to sugarcoat it, we've said this a bunch of times. You guys go through way more struggles than us as men do in the same space. So I know obviously it doesn't just apply to women for being on, being face cam streaming and the anxiety and stuff of going live. Like I said, I kind of never really had it. So what advice would you give to, not mainly women, but just kind of people in general that do struggle with going live and showing their face cam, and kind of what do you think could help them maybe get past that?
Yeah, of course. I think I think a big motivation for me was that even though I was really scared, I was really nervous about how people were going to perceive me, or the way I looked, or my personality, or whatever it was. I think a big motivation was that, if I could do it, or if I'm incredibly anxious and scared, and I have a little bit of social anxiety and all that, I'm a little awkward when it comes to this
Mm-hmm.
kind of stuff. Like, if I could do it, then anybody could do it, or I could at least make a space that people that were like me could come to. And we could be anxious together. We
Yeah.
could we could just chill. We could just play games, and just be in a safe space with one another. And that was my biggest push behind it. But for sure, I think when it comes to being a girl in this space, like, it's like you said, we're not gonna sugarcoat it. We know how toxic some people can be, and we know how some stereotypes behind being a female streamer can be kind of placed on you right off the bat. And it was definitely also a big part of my anxiety with it. But I think I knew that at the end of the day, whether people were going to be toxic in a ranked game over voice
Mm-hmm.
comms, or if they were going to type it in my chat, at the end of the day, it was going to be like, I had a solid support system behind me. I knew I had my friends in my chat that were going to be looking out for me. I knew that I had people supporting me outside of it, like in my real life, that were going to be there for me if I needed anything. Or and also on top of that, the way I like to see it is like, if somebody wants to say something negative about me, or they want to take their time out of their day to come into my chat and say something bad, it really doesn't reflect a lot on me, and it reflects more on them. And I know that I wouldn't do that. So
Yeah.
I don't want to take advice from people that I don't want to be like, or I don't want to have that kind of negativity entertained in a space. So I was just gonna block it out right from the start, see where we can go, just try to keep having fun with it. And if I have a bad day every once in a while, that's okay, but I still got some solid people looking out for me that can always help me with it, and give me advice on it, that have been in the space much longer than me. So I knew I was going to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And, while he was talking, it made me think of this. I think it was episode 33. I could be wrong. I did a podcast with Flamey, and I was talking to him about a really good friend that he had. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was telling me this background story to where he didn't create content, didn't stream or anything for a whole year. And all that dude did was dedicate his time watching people, going on Twitter, supporting them, talking to them, and connecting with them. And after a year later, he finally decided to step out of his comfort zone and start streaming his stuff. And now I think he has like over 100,000 on YouTube. His streams do, crazy well. And it's because of, again, the support system that they created around it. And I think that's kind of a bigger piece of advice that a lot of us forget, is just because you, like, let's say especially for women and stuff, having issues reaching out to other ladies and building that support system. I think a big part of it is you don't have to make content and stream to build that support system. I think if anything, if you do have realistic, legit struggles with actually clicking live and you don't know when you're going to get out of that comfort zone, I think you should just develop a new mindset, and instead of rather being one day I'll get out of it, just say, what can I do to try to support people? And then when I feel comfortable, I'll know that they'll be behind me. And I think that that's kind of a more important factor that we don't really think about.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I think it takes a lot to step out of your comfort zone and to hit that button and to reach out to certain people. And I know with being a girl, sometimes you can be a little bit scared about reaching out to other girls, are they going to be nice to me, or is this weird to reach out to people, or whatever it is. But I think once you realize that you kind of just shoot your shot, a lot of people are thinking the same exact things that you do. They're feeling the exact same way. And a lot of the time, all those intrusive thoughts and all those anxious thoughts that we're having, really most people have when it comes to social interactions. And so I definitely was really scared to reach out to a lot of bigger female streamers, or even people that were like at the same level as me, or just people that I was meeting for the first time. But then once I did it, I was like, wow, people are really nice in this community. Like, way nicer than the people in my hometown. Like, why was I so scared? But it took just doing it and just pushing it. And the worst that happens is they don't answer, or they say no, or they give me advice or whatever it is. But just taking that first step, you can't hate on me for just wanting to get to know a person, or just reaching out to say hey, or wanting to get to know someone. So I think we just have to remind ourselves that people have a lot more common ground with us than we realize, and a lot of people started where we started too. And I think I heard this saying that was like, some of the biggest streamers haven't even gone live yet, haven't even pressed that button yet. Yeah, and that's so true. Like, a lot of the people that I've seen blow up on Kick, were just as anxious, or didn't know anyone, or had a lot of like trust issues about this kind of stuff. But then once they just did it and they put themselves out there, it got a little easier every time, and it got a little better. And I think we can all learn a lot from that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And there was even a statistic like a week or two ago about Jinxie. I mean, everybody knows Jinxie, one of the best Rainbow Six Siege players and the top streamer on Twitch. There was a statistic that came out that he had an average of 1.1 for a whole year. And he had streamed a whole year to one person. And that one person was probably him watching himself back to make sure he had no issues. So it's like, that's the thing, is like, a lot of people want to deem it as cringy and corny. Like, oh, that can't be me. It's like, yes, it can. Like, get out of that headset. Like, yes, it can. Like, you keep thinking about that. No, it won't, So I think that's definitely an important factor too, is like, just because you're not doing well now doesn't mean it's going to be that way forever. eventually you're going to blow up. We all have one life. We all want to support people. We all have one goal to succeed. So you will, as long as you keep that same intention. If you let numbers and what people say about you and these other things affect you that don't really affect you physically or in your scheme of behind the camera of what happens, I think that's the more important part.
Yeah.
I said fart. More important part. Damn. I think that's just a more important part is that you just understand that at the end of the day, people are going through so many different things, have a bad day, whatever. Maybe they're just that type of person. Maybe they're just a freaking hateful piece of crap. You know, at the end of the day, you just gotta let it go. You can't let it affect you. And I think that's something that we can all understand. Even bigger creators, they still go through the same thing, if not more problems than us smaller creators go through, dealing with people saying hateful things or, oh, you don't deserve to blow up. Oh, that content video was trash. Check out my TikTok. I do way better stuff. All the time you see it.
Yeah, that also reminded me when you were talking about people hating on you for putting out content, especially when you feel like no one's watching and stuff like that. I think a lot of the time when you're just getting started, you're thinking about, oof, what are my friends and family gonna think, or my people from my hometown or my high school, or I'm posting this out on Instagram Reels or TikTok or whatever, and the people that are seeing it maybe might not be your initial audience or might not be like your biggest supporters right now or anything, but I think we have to remind ourselves that there's nothing wrong with doing what makes you happy and going for what, you know, your dream is, and eventually you're going to find those right people. And the more that, you know, you just choose to be yourself and do what you want and push for what you want, you're going to find those people. They're going to gravitate towards you. You know, you'll click with other people in those spaces, and it's just going to take some time, but getting started is the hardest part, and then you're off from there, like you're good. But I think we just have to remind ourselves like there's nothing wrong with doing what you love or chasing a goal of yours.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So we've talked a lot about gaming and streaming and network and even a little bit of the women's space and stuff. And before I kind of get to my last couple questions for this podcast, I always kind of like to ask where your name came from. So obviously your full name is Cynicity. I know you obviously go by Sin, but where did that kind of stimulate from and kind of where did that come to make you who you are today?
Yeah. So it's it kind of stemmed from Valorant. It's just how much of this has. Basically, my original Valorant name, like my tag, whatever you want to call it, was a little bit of like my last name at the time, and so people were like, "Oof, you can't have this. You can't do this. You're gonna get doxxed. Like, you can't do this in the gaming industry. Like, you gotta be careful." And I was like, "Oh, really? Like I didn't know that. Like, what should I make it?" And they were like, "You just come up with something cool, something that sounds cool." And I was like, "Wait, what? Like, I can't do that." I went on like name generators on Google and all that, and I couldn't find anything. And then one day, me and my boyfriend were just kind of looking through some words like that maybe like fit certain things or the vibe that we were looking for and all that, and then we found Cynic and we were like, oh, that sounds cool, like that sounds sick, like let's go with that. But then we were like, we gotta tweak it to make it our own though, like we've seen so many people with this name, like all that. And then he was like, what about Cynicity? And I was like, oh wait, I kind of like the way that sounds. And so I stuck with that for a long time, but then whenever people would go to add me on Valorant, I would have to spell it out, and I just got sick of it. So I was like, you know, let's just cut it. We'll cut it to Sin. And then once I did that, all my friends that I played rank with were like, that sounds sick. Don't change it. Don't ever go back. Don't make it Cynicity again. Just stick with Sin. That sounds so good. I'm calling you that from now on. And all of them knew my real name. My real name's Fiona. All of my gaming friends had like known me way before that, and they were like, I refuse to call you anything else besides Sin now. Like, Sin just sounds sick. Like, we're sticking with it. And I was like, all right, let's stick with it. And then I made my name on Kick, on Twitter, made new like Instagram and TikTok profiles and all that. And I was just like, I'm just gonna go with this. We'll stick with it. It sounds cute, but a lot of people, they thought my name was like Cynthia or whatever at first. I was like, no, it's just Cyn. Um, but my community has made a lot of cute nicknames. Like, we kind of have this running joke where we're like making a list of all the different nicknames we can come up with, and but one that kind of stuck was like Cinnabon for a long time. So we made a cute little emote for it and all that, and yeah, it's been cute, but
Yeah.
I definitely like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's sick, and I think I bring it up all the time. I say it every single podcast. I always ask because I'm intrigued, and I want everybody to kind of get their background, especially for people in your community or people that don't know you. It's kind of something that just helps understand the creator a little bit more. And
Yeah.
I've said this a bunch of times. I'll say it every single time. Like, it really doesn't matter what your name is, but my personal opinion on it is I think that if you're a creator that wants to be successful, that wants to build something, whatever your goal is, I think you should have A, something that is not government related, B, something that means something to you, so when you make it, you have more to look back on. I see a lot of people that get to their goals, 1 million subs on YouTube or tons of viewers and make money and they're full-time and stuff, and they're like, oh yeah, my name is just fucking bread mold 78, and I just thought it sounded funny. And it's like, it doesn't really matter, but I just kind of think that adds a bit more uniqueness to the creator, to have something that means something to you and that's what you go by.
Yeah, but I also think it almost becomes part of your identity, and like an alter ego almost, where this is what you're known by your community and the people that have loved you in this space for this hobby and this career and all that, or whatever your goals were. It's all attached at the base to that name, that label that you came up with for yourself. And it's almost like I can be like a new, more fun version of myself when I'm with these people and when I'm doing this, and then then I can be feeling it in my own life and all that. But I think it's kind of cool having like a second name, a little alter ego.
Yeah, and I think that's something a lot of people don't really think about either. Like, I mean, if I'm walking to Walmart and somebody says feeds, I'm gonna turn around, and it's like,
yeah, exactly.
I think that's an important thing. A lot of people don't think that much into it, and I think even like I can't remember who it was. One of my friends had met somebody that he'd been wanting to meet for a long time, and just randomly, and he called him by his stage name or gamer name, whatever you want to call it, and he turned around. I think that's like, it's just something silly. Again, it doesn't really matter, but it's just kind of like what you create, you wouldn't think how much it would actually affect you. Even like I said, even just something simple, being a Walmart and somebody calling you by your gamer name and you turning around, something simple like that you would probably never think about in your life until it happens.
Yeah, I mean, it becomes part of you. It's I remember a couple weeks ago I was actually telling a story about something that happened on stream to my family, and I was quoting like something the other person said, and I was like blah 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 sin blah blah, and they go, what? And I was like, what? They're like, what did they call you? I was just like, oh, Sin. They're like, who's Sin? What is that? What does that mean? I was like, oh, that's me. Like, yeah, like it almost becomes it almost takes over your real name
it's
a little
second
bit
nature,
sometimes, but yeah, it definitely becomes second nature. It's I'm used to being called that. It's weird when sometimes when my gaming friends call me anything else, or if you call my first name, it's like,
you get a little offended.
It's almost like saying your full government, or like when people joke about like when your significant other calls you your first name over something else. It's weird. It's like I'm used to this by now. It's just who I am now.
No, I definitely understand. I mean, I'd get a little upset too. Just be like, pop off, it's like Fiona what? Say it. Finish it if you're gonna go all the way. So I understand. It's cool. I think it's sick. I think that's just kind of a small little aspect, especially on this topic of networking and people that are new to gaming, whether it's men, women, or whatever. I think it's important that you have things that you can stem from, that you can look back on and be proud of. And it's just it's the smaller things that you don't think of now, and something simple as a name change, and you may not think it matters now, but give it a couple months and you do well. And now, another thing, which I don't want to turn this into a whole topic, I just kind of want to say a small little piece, but a lot of people will get to where they want to be, and then they focus on their name and like, oh, I don't really like that. And then when they change it, it messes up their whole algorithm and stuff. And I think that's just kind of a smaller thing that people need to understand. So we're about ready to wrap up here. I'm going to ask a couple more questions that I usually do at the end here. So I talk a lot about networking. First thing I said when we started this podcast, talking about how me and you, usually, like I said, is kind of with strangers, but me and you, I would say we're pretty decent friends, I would say. So for other creators, especially I do for the women that come on my podcast, I do kind of want to make their own thing for them too. So I will, obviously it can still kind of appeal to everybody, but specifically for women creators, what advice would you give to them to understand, A, what networking could be to them, and B, kind of how they could get better at networking and supporting and getting themselves out there?
Yeah. I think it's really important to use all the resources and the assets that you can when it comes to something like trying to grow as a creator. I think you'd be a fool not to. It's you'll hear that a lot when people try to give you advice on, how to grow and all that. They're like, just push content, push content. And, it's a big part of it, but I think just at the base of everything is just trying to use all that you can. Try to reach as many people as you can. And something that I found that now I swear by, because it's the only reason why I've grown to what I've grown, really, is just really getting to know people and to talking to people, specifically through Twitter for me. That was where I found that I could find a lot of other kick streamers and a lot of people in this community that could teach me more about it and introduce me to more people and sort of just like bring me into it. And everyone was so welcoming, everyone was so supportive and positive. And I think that was a huge part of why I like grew pretty quickly in the beginning, when I was brand new to all this. And I think you just really, really, really gotta just talk to people, build relationships with people, not for gain and not for money and none of that, not for numbers, not for any self-serving reasons, but just genuinely wanting to get to know other people and to branch out. And so it's like the same thing as like the first day of school when you don't know anybody. Best thing that you can do is just try to find some people to connect to or to talk to, introduce yourself, and show people what kind of person you are. Let them get to know you too. And I really wanted people to know that I was going to be somebody really positive in this community, or somebody that was really going to support other people and really just try to show love without anything in return. I just really wanted the best for everyone, and I think I found some really great people by doing that. And it's just, yeah, I swear by it. I swear by things like Twitter and any other way that you can really support people. Hang out in other people's streams, learn a little bit about what they do with their community, and how you can have fun with things and get to know more people, branching out, all that. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. So on that topic, we preach a lot about mental health and stuff. So many men and women all go through so many different battles and so many things that they have going on, whether it is gaming, whether it's their personal lives or whatever going on. They have things that they don't talk about, and they have nobody to share it with, and they keep it all bottled inside, and then one day they just have this big old rampage on Twitter, and now they just ruin their whole career just because they're a little upset. A lot of people, and this is something I personally do, and I'll do it all the time. Anytime that I'm noticing I'm getting really frustrated, I'm losing a lot of games, I'm just kind of in my own head. I kind of have the self-discipline. I usually stop myself, and I'll look at the camera and be like, hey, like this is not what I want to do today. Like this, I don't want to do this. I'm going to end stream. I'm going to send the raid out to Boa, go check them out. They're great people, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. And I do have that self-discipline that I'll give myself, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people have struggles finding it, or, if I stop streaming today, I'm going to fall off. Oh, if I stop making content for a few weeks, I'm not going to hit the algorithm, and nobody's going to care about me, and all these people that I support won't support me when I come back. What advice would you give to creators that are struggling with whatever they're going through, and they want to take a break, but they're so focused and so worried about what they've built that it's holding them back from actually getting at a better mental state?
Yeah. I definitely relate to that a lot. I've definitely struggled with these things too. I think a lot of streamers and creators have all dealt with this at one point. They're really afraid to take a break. They feel like no one's going to be there when they get back and all that. But one thing I kind of live by, and you can ask all my friends, I always give this advice, is you can't pour out of an empty cup. You can't give when you're not good yourself, and you can't help other people until you help yourself. I think it's really, really important to realize what some of your limits and boundaries are in order to keep yourself okay. I think we try to give and give a lot on stream. You know, we try to bring our best energy and try to make it as entertaining, you know, keep people around and all that. And we're so focused on, you know, really just being like that best versions of ourselves that it can be really frustrating on the days where we don't feel like it so much. And I think it's really important to know that it's okay to take a break. It's okay to have a short stream. You don't always have to stream 8 hours at a time. It's something that I definitely had to learn too. I think it's all right to take a break here and there. People will understand. They will. And if people genuinely love you for you and they love watching you, they like supporting you, they're friend of yours, or you know, or they just really enjoy your content, then I think you'll understand that they'll be there when you get back. They'll be 10 times more excited to see you. And you'll feel so much better. You'll have such more, like much more energy to bring, and you'll feel happier. You'll feel more excited to be back and all that, rather than just pushing and pushing yourself and draining until you have nothing else to give. And I think it's really important, just, you know, with streaming, but also just in our lives, to know when to take a break and when you just have to not be selfish, but just give a little extra love to yourself, and prioritize yourself first at times. And I was just talking to somebody about this today, actually. They were feeling really burnt out with streaming and they didn't know what else to do, and they just wanted to quit all of it. And I was like, you know, I've been there, I really have. I thought about quitting so many times, but really most of the times when we feel like that is when we've just pushed ourselves and we've stretched ourselves out a little too thin. You just gotta take a break. Remember why you started this in the first place. Try to figure out what you enjoy. You know, if this game isn't working, you're not having fun with this, maybe just take a break from it at the time, and or sort, you know, your personal life out a little bit first and then come back to this when you feel better and all that.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. And I think a big thing too about that is, you know, what you're wanting to achieve and what you're creating. If you're not comfortable with streaming, you know, have you done content or whatever? Now, a lot of people struggle with the battle of understanding what the difference is and stuff. And I think realistically, kind of now, I think I'm pretty much in a good standpoint to say I'm a fair example of that, because anybody that knew me before the podcast, I would stream religiously every single day. I would stream a bunch of times. I would, you know, do my rank sniping and hit clips, and yes, I'm feeds, and yeah, I'm a great sniper, blah 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 blah. And I loved it. I still love sniping. It's who I am. I love being able to, especially like in Warzone and stuff, or even in ranked. I love knowing that I can compete at levels that other people can't. But at the end of the day, like, it made me happy in the moment, but creating content, it wasn't really something I wanted. You know, I wanted to do this podcast. I wanted to kind of be more myself and find ways to do that. And so the reason why I say that I'm kind of a good example is because I've completely switched up my content these past couple of months. I am on the ground right now for this team called NorCal. Shout out to them. I've been able to connect. The reason why I'm mentioning them is I've connected with a lot of the creators within that community that's kind of helped me come to this determination. I stopped doing COD on YouTube. I don't like it. It's too competitive, too many thumbnails, too many hashtags, too many algorithms. Everybody's doing the same thing, and I didn't like it. I loved being a sniper. I love hitting clips and the reactions, but as far as YouTube and long-form content goes, it just wasn't something that I enjoyed. So when on my streams and on my Twitter, you'll see tons of my COD content. You'll see some today that I posted before me and you even recorded this. But on my YouTube, I have two separate channels. I have Feeds Mindset, which you're watching today. Thank you. And then I also have my normal channel, Feeds XD, because Feeds is taken everywhere as I go. So Feeds XD. And I actually do beatbox reactions on there. Beatboxing is a community that I've always known for years, and I've loved it so much. And for the longest time, I wanted to do reactions, but I also wanted to understand what it was and find ways to talk about it to where it seemed like I had some sense in myself, to where I understood it and I kind of can understand, not just kind of saying, wow, that's a cool sound, you know, like getting kind of more into it. And I started doing beatbox reactions like 2 months ago, and now I have like well over 10,000 views in just like within a month and stuff. And it's not really like about the numbers and stuff, but it's like, that's what I wanted to do for a long time, and I use that as an excuse with my COD side because that's just what I thought would get out there. And one day I just had a reality check, and I'm like, you know, this isn't what I want to do. So I deleted most of my stuff. There's still some montages is all either my podcast or my separate channel, my main one, which is my beatbox reactions, and they're completely separate. And I think being able to do that and have YouTube on one side and my COD stuff on another side really helped dictate and kind of correlate the kind of creator that I wanted to be and the kind of people that I wanted to appeal to. Because on Twitter, it's a happy medium because I get my podcast side. I want to be a positive light and I want to spread awareness for mental health, but I also still do like being known for sniping and being a good feeder and stuff. So it's kind of it's a happy medium. And I think the reason why I'm saying all this, I think it's important that you take a step back and like understand what you really enjoy. Because just like I said, my beatbox reactions, that's probably something you will hardly ever hear out of any of your friends. It's a very small community, but it's a great community to be a part of. And doing things that you just think, people don't really care about it or whatever. And my reactions do, like one video is done better than one, 10, 20 different montages I put out. That's just the important thing. You have to understand what kind of creator you want to be, and sometimes you have to make sacrifices because maybe it's what you want to do, but wanting to do something and being happy while doing something is two completely different things. I think a lot of people don't understand that.
People can see through it too. This is a really big part of things like streaming and content is people can tell when you're not enjoying what you're doing, and people can really just like sense the energy, or they can see when you're not super passionate about something. So I think it's really important, like what you were saying when you were putting out YouTube, you weren't having fun with that, with the long form stuff. Then you realized, hey, I enjoy making the shorter clips so much more, or doing this over this. Then people can really see that. They're like, wow, he's really into this, or that was really fun to watch, and like if they're enjoying themselves, so then you enjoy themselves a little bit. And I think it makes a really, really big difference. I've definitely had those days where I was streaming like really not having a great time, like maybe on ranked or something, and I just didn't want to be streaming that day, and people weren't really having fun because I wasn't having fun. So I think it's really important just to try to figure out what you like and what works for you, what makes you happy, what you're passionate about, and also to remember that it's okay to take breaks and to try to bring yourself the best version of yourselves on the days that you can, and on the days that you can't, it's all right not to go live, and people will be there when you get back. I took a break for like 2 months. I like moved houses, switched jobs. I completely stopped streaming. I actually didn't even have my PC put together. Everything was taken down. Everything was boxed up. I couldn't do it even if I wanted to. And I was so scared that when I came back, there was going to be like maybe one person in there. And then when I came back, everyone was still there. They were like, oh my God, welcome back. Like, we're so happy you're back, or let's play games again, or whatever it was. And that was the best feeling ever. So I stressed about it for so long. So yeah, you just gotta remember, like, people that really support you they'll support you through what you go through.
Do you think, before we end off on here, one of my last questions on that topic, I know that it was kind of, you taking that break was kind of forced. It is just personal stuff you had to. It wasn't fully a break where you just like, I need to get away from it. It's just IRL obligations. Was that important to you, the fact that you was able to be gone for so long and come back? Did it kind of give you that mental reset that you felt like you needed?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've definitely had both experiences, like times where I just like completely wanted to stop streaming, maybe was a little burnt out, or times where I was forced to. But on both ends of it, I think even more so with the time that I was kind of forced to take a break, I realized how much I needed it. And now after taking such a long break, a little longer than expected, I was able to have brand new setup. People thought I got a new camera just because I added a lamp. A light instead of a lamp. Instead of my living room yellow lamp that's like halfway across the room. Yeah, I actually have like a light now and all that, and it's it's not a bunch of messy boxes or curtains falling in the middle of my stream or whatever it is. Like I actually had the time to put things together and to feel more confident about what I was putting on that camera, and I have way more fun with it. I'm in my actual own personal space for the first time with it, which was really, really amazing for me. And so I think even though maybe I didn't want to take that break, it was so important that I did. I felt so much happier, so much more excited to go back to it. And I missed it a lot. I realized how much I enjoyed it and that I wanted to keep going. Um, and yeah, I think it just kind of made me realize way more that this was actually something I wanted to be a part of, and not that I was just forcing myself to do it. And that it wasn't just like a job or anything. This was something that I really loved. So I think sometimes we do kind of need to take a step back, especially when we get a little too angry at the games and
Yeah.
all that, and just remind ourselves that, sometimes we just need a little time off. Just need a little reset, maybe go see some friends or do something else that you love and come back to it and feel so much better.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. And I mean, I'm glad that you was able to kind of go through all that and turn all that into a positive as kind of a new beginning. And obviously, I'm definitely proud of you. I'm proud of everything that
Thank
you
you.
build and the community that clearly is there to support you and stuff. I think it kind of ties back into our whole self-reflection thing. Our big spill that we went on is it kind of applies to you too, because you went on a break. I'm sure you supported people during the meantime, popped into streams and stuff, but you yourself as a creator had kind of vanished for a little bit. And the fact that you have people that now come back to you like you've been streaming every single day, I think that's a big testament to you to show you that you are doing things for the right reason. So
Thank you.
I'm proud of you, and I'm sure that they're ecstatic to know that you're back.
That
Um,
means a lot. Thank you. Thank
yeah,
you.
of course. So before we end off in here, do you have anything coming up you want to share with anybody that you're excited about?
Yeah. So I have two things kind of that I spoke about a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually am planning on hosting our second Valorant tournament. First one was a little messy, but it was definitely really fun. And we were planning to do one for the holidays, but we kind of didn't get to
Mm-hmm.
do that because I was moving houses, and Tony, who I co-hosted with, was chasing a degree, so good for him. We're
Mm-hmm.
really, really proud of him too. But now we're kind of thinking about it. We're getting back into the groove, and that should be really, really, really fun. I had such a great time getting like half the Kit community together, getting a bunch of Valorant players together, and just hosting something fun. And we did things last time, like we did giveaways and like awards at the end and all that, and that was really fun. And we got to post some clips and all that from it, and Kick put us on the front page. That was amazing.
Yeah.
So excited about that. So I'm planning on hosting another one very soon. I'm bringing back my confessional stream, which was sort of like a people submit anonymous submissions of confessions, secrets, or looking for advice. We do a
Mm-hmm.
lot of mental health talk over there too. So I'm going to be bringing that back shortly, which I'm really excited about because that's a lot of fun too. Getting
Yeah.
a bunch of streamers together in a call and all that. And we have a lot of great talks just like this, which I appreciate so much more than you know. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
really really excited. Yeah.
Of course. Awesome. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I hope that everybody can go check you out, and whether it's your community or my community or even just somebody random watching this, please go check her out. Before we end off on the stream, is there any last words you want to say to anybody watching? Any last bit of advice or tips or anything you want to give for people?
I just want people to know that, anyone can do this, whether you got anxiety or other mental health struggles, or regardless of what your life may look like. People from all different backgrounds, you can do it. Do what makes you happy, chase it. Try not to focus too much on what other people may think about you, because, you got this life and that's what matters. Um and yeah, just try to create something positive out of whatever it is that you choose to do. Just try to make it positive, try to leave an impact. And having discussions like this really, really matters. Try to connect to people, try to make a difference in people's lives. It really does go really long way. And I hope more people find your channel too. Stuff like this is really amazing to me. So thank you. And thank you for
Yeah.
having me on and all that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Yeah.
you've been wonderful. It's been awesome to be able to kind of get to know you, and also, and as I kind of said this already before, but that's always my favorite part is watching your community kind of watch you unfold, because it's kind of like, it's a weird way, but it's kind of like having a baby, because like you support a streamer and you watch them grow, and you're like, I took care of them when they was little, and now look at them.
Yeah.
It's so fun. But yeah, I definitely appreciate your time. Anybody watching, please go check out Sin. Her Twitter is right below her head. Go in the description. You can check out all her links and everything. Please go check her out on her streams. That's pretty much it. This has been episode 37 of Feeds Mindset. Sin, again, thank you so much for your time. You've been wonderful.
Thank you so much. You as well. Thank
All
you.
right. We'll see you guys later. My name is Feeds, and I'm out, guys. Peace.